So welcome back. Today is June 6th. No, June 2nd. 7:06 a.m.
Don't
PST in the
scare
morning.
me, Jay. June 2nd.
June 2nd. Yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So today we will cover a couple of things. Okay. One is I know people have asked me in the past recently RICEFW objects. What is called RICEFW object or RICEFW object? Okay. And also we will touch upon classic GL and new GL. What is classic GL? What is new GL? Very seldom, like maybe like 20% of the companies uses classic GL still. Like even big companies, Apple uses classic GL, new Nestle uses classic GL, and there are small companies use the classic GL. New GL was pretty old. It's already like 15 years old. But there are still companies uses classic GL. So what's the difference between classic GL versus new GL, and what is the use? What is the purpose? What is the pros and cons, advantages, disadvantages? Okay, we will cover that too, and then we'll post some postings. So that's a basic fundamental of a GL accounts, right? GL posting. So which is also why I want to do this, and then we go through the configuration, the concept, and all this stuff. And then let's start with the RICEFW objects also quite big. I wanted to cover actually a few things when I say RICEFW object, right? SAP finance is functional. Okay. When people, I'll always challenge people when they say you're technical. What do you mean by technical? Okay. This is all techno functional. So, but SAP FICO itself is functional, right? I mean, I'm teaching you, you are training to be a functional consultant, right? Again, there's a difference between functional consultant and actual configuration. Okay, when I say functional consultant, configuration guys are not called as functional consultant, in my mind at least. Functional people actually who knows SAP business process. Okay, not to do with configuration, not to be confused with the configuration. Okay, lots of companies they hire functional business analysts, functional FICO analysts. What does it mean? It means who knows the business process in SAP, how to post a journal entry. Okay, how to post a journal entry, how to post clearing, how to post a partial payment, all this stuff, run a payment program, costing functionalities, this and that. It's called functional, okay, in SAP. Do they have to know the configuration? Probably not. Okay, what if they know the configuration? Then they become a SAP FICO consultant. Okay, if it's a functional, they don't have to know the configuration. Okay, that is the actual meaning of it, but not a lot of people, even delivery managers, they do not know this. When they give an advertisement, job advertisement to the people, to their hiring company, to the recruitment company, they will just mess up with this. They'll say functional, technical, techno-functional, all this, just consultant, all this stuff. Okay, got my point? Now, what is techno-functional? Okay, so we know SAP FICO consultant, we know functional, lot of functional analysts, right? There's a large implementation. Let's say in Southern California, Edison is going through a large implementation, SAP implementation. They hire a lot of consultants. Obviously, TCS, be it HCL, TCS, they are there. They are consultants, right? On the other side, they hire functional analysts, functional consultants, in order to work with them who understand the business process in SAP. Okay, they can challenge them, they can explain to them what they exactly need in SAP, right, to run the business process. So that's the difference between SAP FICO consultant and the functional business analyst or functional FICO analyst. Okay. Now the third thing is, what is techno-functional? We often see techno-functional, right? Who knows ABAP? Okay, ABAP is a base for SAP program. All SAP is built in ABAP programming, right? SQL and ABAP programming. So ABAP is an object-oriented language like Java. Okay. Now they think ABAP 4 or 5, 6 something. There's a version ABAP, Advanced Business Application Programming. I think that's what it is. ABAP stands for Advanced Business Application Programming. The whole SAP is built on this object-oriented language called ABAP. So people who knows ABAP, okay, they develop what they do. What do, right? They develop programs, they develop reports, right? Custom reports, interfaces, and substitution validation. Not anything to do with programming, coding. So why? Why they have to do coding and programming? SAP has out of the box, you have SAP. SAP has said that, hey, we have built everything in the configuration. You can pretty much configure everything and start your engine, right? Start working on it, start driving a car, right? So when you go and buy a car, Maserati, whatever it is, you can pretty much walk out of the door and start driving the car, right? Let's say you don't like the dashboard. You want to add something else. You don't like the GPS. You want additional buttons here and there, right? What do? Right? You ask for a customization, right? I have seen people like, they wait for 3 months for Acura to release a new color, or ask for some modification, silencer, bumpers, whatnot, right? They modify the car, okay, and they pay extra money and modify the car. That's called customization. Okay, now I walk into a dealer store, let's say I walk into Toyota, I want to buy a Accord. I said, okay, they will say, okay, what do you need? Obviously, it's all V6 engine. Nothing can be stopped. It's a database, right? So you cannot ask for a configuration. It's a V6 engine, maybe 2.2 horsepower and all this stuff. But I can ask for GPS or not GPS, right? I can ask for backup camera or not backup camera. I can ask for, parking sensor without parking sensors, right? All this I can ask for. I can ask for leather seats or not leather seats, upholstery leather or not upholstery, right? Steering wheel tilted or not. All this I can change. These are configurable, right? When the factory produces, these are configurable for them. They produce the configurable, right? Now, on the other hand, when I want to really, really make some customization, okay, hey, I don't want this, let's say the audio system. I know you guys come with some kind of system. I want to change this to my own. Can you put this here? Obviously, they don't, right? But you take to the store, different store, mechanical, different, like third-party store, and they will do a customization. That's called customization, okay? Which means, again, let's switch back to SAP. In SAP, they deliver this SAP. You buy SAP software, okay? You maybe cloud or in premises, you buy it. Then you open the box and start using it, okay? It took all the configuration, pretty much company code, document type, number ranges, everything, right? SAP said, you don't have to do any ABAP programming because we give everything that you need to configure. However, business processes are very complex, right? Very complex. You cannot fit in everything, right? If you look at companies, that's why I keep telling you from day one when you start learning SAP, you have to think in a big scale. Okay, you have to think in big scale, like how 7-Eleven operates, right? How Coca-Cola operates, very complex. Did they just buy and sell? They just manufacture and sell it to you? No. Coca-Cola's logistics, distribution, logistics process is one of the most complicated. They figured it out, right? They manufacture from somewhere, they send it across the world, right? How do they do it? So you have to really think about this. How Costco, just imagine how they operate, right? Who manages all these inventories? Who pays for these workers? Where the cash goes? How the membership drive works, right? How in the world they could do 90 days return policy? Nobody else. How could they do 90 days return policy, right? How would they prevent misusing the consumer fraudulent or misusing, right? All this you should think about it. Okay, now switch back again. So difference between configuration and customization. So far, you're creating company code, all this stuff configuration. Customization, on the other hand, is basically you hire a developer and said, hey boss, this is not working. This report is not working fine. I need additional features. I want something to be added, or I want to develop a new report. Okay, because we use a lot of custom developments. We have a lot of legacy data. What is legacy data? I'm sure you have watched the other video. Okay, so we have other systems that we have to bring the data from. Okay, so you do custom development. Okay, great. So that's become techno-functional. So a guy who knows a BAP program and who also knows the functional side of it, he's become a techno-functional. So generally, BAP guys who starts with developer, right? Over a period of time, they start working on like financial reports. They're working on ST reports, like costing reports. When they keep doing it, they learn FI, and then they become, or at least they call themselves techno-functional consultants. They become techno-functional consultant, right? So far, any questions?
No, sir.
So far, any questions?
No, no.
No. No, Vijay.
No.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Now, so that's what I want to talk to you about, right? You guys should know what is called RICEFW Objects. So let's do it. Next. So in most of the job requirements, okay, if you look at the job description, they would say you should be familiar with the RICEFW object, somebody who handled RICEFW objects. Okay, that's always they talk about. Okay, what is RICEFW objects? You can look at DICE and start looking at some of the job description. It says somebody who is familiar with the RICEFW objects. Basically, if you work in a as a consultant for a long time, and you definitely worked on RICEFW objects. In my resume, I would say I have worked on 100 plus RICEFW objects, maybe 200 plus RICEFW objects. So what are RICEFW objects, right? I told you again, this is all custom development. Okay, so these are basically custom developments. Let's do one by one. And now, after my 15 minutes of speech or lecture or whatever you call it, I'm sure you understand what is called custom developments, right? Okay, the first one is called reports. Okay, why? So you guys have so far run several reports, right? FBL 1 and this is basic reports, FS10 and FBL 1 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and nonsense, all this stuff, right? A lot of big reports, cost center reports, S underscore SLR, Y underscore ALR, what a lot of reports. Let's do this. So here, I'm sure you see my screen, right? So I highly encourage you to open all this, okay? And just click everywhere, and just click and execute some of the reports or transaction codes, whatever you want, so that you become very familiar with what is there in SAP. Okay. Let's say, like I said, S underscore ALR. I know this is by heart. I know that this is all cost center postings, cost center transaction reports. Yes. So I don't know why it's really slow today. Okay. Don't tell me my internet is acting up today. By the way, that's okay. Let's continue. You guys with me?
Yes.
Yes, Vijay.
All right, thank you. So these are standard reports. Okay. How do you know this is standard report? Anything starts with A to Y. Okay. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K until Y. It's all standard reports. Okay, it's called standard report. Anything that starts with Z is called customized report, because when I'm creating a report, okay, I'm creating a program, SAP does not allow me to name it with the prefix of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever it is. It has to be start with Z, zebra. So they call it Z reports. If you walk into a company, they call it custom reports or Z reports. Okay, so this is something, a term which you should be really knowing it. What do you call this?
Z report.
Z report, yes. Z report. And why they call it Z? Because you cannot name a report. You cannot check Z report. Okay. Z report. So, like I said, let's say new report developed by adapters or developers. Okay, developers as since the standard reports. I'll try to explain this as much as layman terms as possible. Since the standard reports are not sufficient. Okay, so custom reports should start with the letter, with the letter, with what letter? Z. Okay. You can't, come on, name, yeah, report being developed with the letter starting from A to Y. Make sense? This is called report. And I told you why they create a new report. So far clear? So next is interfaces. Okay, next is interfaces. What is an interface? Okay, in simple terms, who joined? Bhavana. Hey, Bhavana. So what is an interface, right? So interface, some business process may be maintained in external systems. Okay, for example, payroll, fixed assets, dispute management. They don't run in SAP. Okay, they might be running in different systems. Okay, how do you connect the data? So lots of big companies, like, think about Coca-Cola, right? The SAP is used for the transaction system, but however, the promotions, dispute management, the customer service, CRM, right? Payroll, distributed promotions and brokers commissions, whatnot. All this will happen in different system. Okay. Now, how? Let's say in a typically broker's commission. Okay. What's a broker's commission? Okay. Let's say you are selling. Let's say you are working for a company. It's a manufacturing company or trading company, whatever it is. Okay. You have a lot of promotions that happens in. You are promoting the product. Okay. When I say promoting the product, it's CRM, customer relationship management. Okay. You budget for the promotions. You have this. What kind of promotions you have? Like field promotion, sales promotion, event promotion, tent promotions, right? If you walk by the car dealership, they have tent promotions, tent sales. What is we call tent sales, right? Why all of a sudden there's a tent and they call it tent sales? We don't know, right? All this thing you should ask yourself, right? It's a business, and Toyota and Honda, they all run in SAP. But when they say tent sales, do you think that happens in SAP? Probably not. Of course not. Of course not, right? It happens in CRM system, or could be done by a third-party company, right? They will do it for you. Now, third-party company is doing it, and then you pay for them. How do you pay for them? They probably give you a purchase order to you, and then you pay to them, right? You buy their services and pay to them. All is great. Now, let's say you wanted to pay. Let's say they make sales. The distributor is making sales, and then that has to come and updates into your SAP system. Okay. Simple scenario is now a lot of online sales happens, right? Let's say, Rekha, I was telling her yesterday too, she's joining a company which makes DVR, the multimedia, DVR. DVR is old technology, but still this company sells DVR. So it's probably a $4 billion company. Now they have tie-up with lots of so let's say they sell this device online. Okay, they sell this device online, even though they manufacture it, maybe from China. They bring it here. Okay, they have their warehouse where they have the distribution. They store them. It's a distributed warehouse. Maybe in California or maybe in some other cheaper places in US, right? They have them, and then they sell online. How do they sell online? Okay, it's simple, right? Amazon. I go and order a lot of items. When we order a lot of items, Amazon sometimes hold the stock, sometimes they don't. Okay, when I place an order, how this shipping notification goes to somebody in China? How they're shipping to me? How they update this tracking record in Amazon? How they send me an email, right? How this happens? How exactly Amazon knows how much stock he has left to sell, right? It says 3 quantity left, right? How does it even know? How fast it retrieves the system from the China supplier and updates in SAP, or it's in Amazon, right? These are interfaces. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Great. So this is, so for example, I can show you the product catalog here. Let me show you one thing in SAP. Yeah, I tried to create a product catalog sometime back. I forgot the transaction code. Okay, WWM file. Let's try that. So I'm going to stop this annotate. Okay. Alrighty. So this is the product catalog. So let's say I am a Dell computer or a Samsung. Okay. I have a product catalog, right? So if you go to Amazon, if you search, you can also search by seller, right? You can search by seller. You click on Dell, you can click on HP. It lists all the varieties of products that I have, correct? You go to stock to buy, or deals to buy, or overstock.com or Target, whatever website, right? The Target does not own the laptop, right? Costco, they don't own the laptop. How then HP sells through the website, right? So first thing is they create a product catalog here. In SAP, they create product catalog. So let's say I'm a computer shop. Okay, now I have this both here, document schema, it's advertising material, and obviously, the sales area, distribution channel, division, right? Whenever you sell something, it has to be with. So when you're selling something, which sales area, which within the company, right? You have to categorize the sales, who the sales belong to. Okay, now reference customer. What's a reference customer? Okay, for internet, when somebody creates and place an order, it comes and updates in SAP into this customer. This is like a one-time customer. Okay, let's see who's this guy. So what's the transaction code to look at the customer master? Anybody? Anybody who's not sleeping?
SK02. SK02. 03. Sorry.
So reference customer for internet. Okay, what does it mean, right? Company code data. Some people are very familiar. I know some of the guys who already loaded some data using custom LSMW. But others, it's okay. Just follow this through. So here's the thing. So first thing is I create a product catalog. Okay, validity period. Do you want to display prices in online? Yes. What is the currency? It's a German Deutschmark. Now, what are the variants I have, right? I can maintain in both the languages, DE and English. Okay, so you could say, if you go to your website, you can actually change the language, right? All this come from where? SAP. Let's go. Click on the layout here. Alrighty, so this is my layout. Okay, so I have my computer shop has both hardware shop and software shops. Okay, I get PC ensemble, monitors, drivers, keyboards, software packages, and word processing. Let's see monitors. Just click on the monitors because I'm selling monitors. Just click on monitors and see. So you don't have to know this, okay? I did not know this like a week ago. Great, see here. Monitors, we have three materials, three types of monitors, 17 inches, 20 inches color, and 21 inches color. Okay, this is an identifier. And there's a price. Okay, what does the D stands for? I think display prices maybe. I don't know what they are. So you can click on the text. Are you guys getting some idea, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Right. So these are the text that goes into your website. In English, this monitors. The German guys, I think they wrote more stuff here. And for the lines, all this stuff, they go into SAP. You can edit and change whatever you want. Now, great. So this is very important. You maintain a product catalog. Okay. Now, how this product catalog, okay, will go into my SAP, into website, Amazon or Costco or Walmart, right? Or Target, whatever it is. How does it go? So there's an interface, okay, which is basically an IDOC interface. We will talk about IDOC as well. There is a video I have for the interfaces that I recommend you guys to watch, okay, after this. So that's called interface. So anything that goes within, from outside system into SAP, from SAP to outside system, that's called interface, how they build the interface, okay? The data basically transfers over from one system to another system. How it does it? It could be a flat file. Okay, it could be a flat file. So another example is, so you got this point, right? The online selling, right? So now the interfaces, they take this product catalog and updates into the online marketplace. They call it marketplace. And obviously there has to be a payment gateway. There has to be a software in between which takes the data and put the data in the right format. Now eBay has its own, Amazon has its own, right? A lot of companies has its own, right? So Magento, which was owned by eBay, I think some company bought it, maybe Amazon, some company bought it, I don't know. So that's one of the software which actually handles all the processing of the data and updates into the marketplace. Okay, if you're selling online, it's called marketplace. Okay, so you will be given a vendor ID, that's called your marketplace. You will update your stock, update your description, everything, right? Generally. In large scale, SAP has to directly update it. If I'm like selling like 20, 30 items, I can go to Amazon, create an account, I can put all this my stuff there and start selling them. Right, which a lot of people do. But if I'm doing in SAP, okay, there's lots of products I have. So they send this all the product information by IDOC. Whenever you change the product catalog, whenever you change the description, it automatically goes into SAP, go to the marketplace and updates it. Why IDOC? IDOC is an intermediate document. It takes all the data from SAP and goes into this software and updates how many quantities we have, what is the price we change, right? Even the picture, you can actually upload the picture here. It comes from SAP, the fancy pictures. If you're selling the TV, the fancy picture, you can upload it here. It goes there and updates it. Now the customer clicks, places an order. What happens next? When they place an order, okay, it creates an order, then updates into SAP. This customer has placed an order. Okay, he has a credit card information, he has a contact number, shipping information, everything, right? Otherwise, we cannot create an account. How does it come? Now, there's another IDOC comes into SAP, says that, hey, that's an idiot who purchased your product. Okay, now it creates an order in SAP right away. Then what happens? You plan for the shipping. You said how long you can take for shipping. Okay, then it updates the shipping information. Then again, IDOC goes to the marketplace and says that your product is being shipped now, right? Now, when the product is created, delivery note, and they issue the post to goods issue, everything gets updated in SAP, and the tracking, the FedEx guy comes and takes this routing, the carrier, the transport carrier, whoever it is, he comes and takes the item, and he gives a notice saying that this is tracking information, whatever it is. It gets updated into SAP system in the marketplace. All this how it happen for each product, right? They call it interface. Okay. Now this customer, every day, like just imagine Thanksgiving, doing Thanksgiving on holiday, July 4th. Lots of people go and purchase, right? So we don't know who is this guy, right? So they may be just purchasing like 20 cents or maybe purchasing for $200. We don't know. So in SAP, we don't want to create them as a customer master. Typically, when you sell, you create a typically customer master, right? When you sell, when you place an order, so when you receive an order, you're selling to them, you create a customer master. However, for all these people who are purchasing online, you don't want to create customer master because they are not going to buy from you anyways. In the future, they may not, right? So you don't want to create them their address, data, everything in your database because it becomes decluttered, it becomes clunky, right? So which you don't want to do it. So they create an internet reference customer, which I just showed you, right? They reference just one customer and they post all the sales into that customer. Okay, because SAP doesn't need to maintain all of them. You have them in the marketplace, right? Any troubleshooting, any problem solving, any dispute management, customer satisfaction, this guy is going to email to you from the website and you have a team who is going to take care of it, right? Good so far?
Yes, sir. Very informative.
Yes, Vijay.
Good so far?
Yeah.
Good so far?
Yes, Jay.
Yes, Jay.
Yes, sir.
It expects
so far?
everybody to answer.
No, I don't know how much. I don't know how you guys. I'm actually spellbound. I'm usually very excited to teach. I think you guys know this. I'm very, very excited. I can tell you how much I'm happy. When I'm usually stressed, I teach people. Last 3-4 days I didn't have proper sleep, but something I look forward is to teach people in my life. Great. Great. So this is the interface. What's the next one? Conversions. Okay. So we talked about interfaces. I think there's a lot of discussions. I'm not writing anything here. Let's go back here. What is conversions? What is conversions, right? So this is usually called legacy data conversion. Okay. Conversion could be anything, right? you would just think about anything. What is conversion, right? Converting from right one format to another format, converting from one file to another file, right? From Excel to text, text to Excel, and converting the data. Okay, take that all this zeros and put some other number. These are typical conversions, and I know you guys work on Excel a lot, right? Similarly, when I'm getting data from legacy system, what is legacy system? It's a existing old application. So I gave an exercise to Hemant last week. Hemant, do you have some? Are you ready to explain?
No, sir, because I think I went on another path instead of
Okay.
this one, because I was just reading about the LSMW and all those. So
Okay, great. That's fine. So this is another. Let me give you a very classic example. Okay. Every topic is huge. It's like an ocean. Okay. I like to start from A to Z. Okay. But we have time constraints, and people get bored. Why this idiot is talking too much in the morning? A lot of implementation happens, right? There's a there's a brown field, there's a green field, there's a hybrid. Okay, all this implementation happens. What they call it hybrid why I'm saying blue, brown field and hybrid green field. So greenfield implementation is basically you buy a new software, okay, and implement everything new. I have no system. I have an existing system, but not SAP system. Okay, so I just buy SAP and implementing SAP, like from Oracle to SAP, from PeopleSoft to SAP, from they don't have a lot of software these days, right? They don't have a lot of ERPs. Like many years back, there's lots and lots of ERPs. Informatics, Bond, this and that. Now it's all consolidated. Companies keep buying, and they just consolidate and kill each other. SAP Business One, there's one like for small businesses. NetSuite, Vision is something like Microsoft still has it. Dynamic Vision, Dynamis, something like this. NetSuite is one, which is also popular, right? A lot of ERPs, they move from ERP one to another ERP. So when they don't have SAP at all, they're moving into new SAP system. That's called greenfield implementation. And why they call it greenfield? And there is a reason, right? When there's the soccer match, when you go into soccer match in the morning, right? The field looks green, right? It's nobody tapped on it. There's no grass patches or gray patches, nothing, right? It's fresh in the morning, right? Then the players start, stomping their balls and running around. Then it becomes what? It becomes gray. It becomes choppy. It becomes patchy here and there, right? It loses the pristine condition that is gathered overnight. That's called greenfield implementation. It's greenfield. You're going to implement. Right? What is brownfield? The second thing is brownfield. Brownfield is kind of hybrid, which is basically you still have old SAP system, old legacy system, and you implement something new, right? Maybe some part of the transaction, some part of the function, some part of the organization will run in SAP, and the rest will run in some other system. Okay, that's called greenfield. Sorry, brownfield. Okay, hybrid is also something similar, which is mix of all the systems, which you can look it up. That's not the focus of the goal of this topic. What I wanted to tell is conversions. So when you work in a company, they're hiring for a SAP implementation. They have Oracle system. They're migrating from Oracle to SAP. Okay, or from PeopleSoft to SAP. Now they have a lot of data, legacy data. They call it legacy data. What is legacy? You know what's called legacy, right? Legacy is something happened in the past. That's an English term, right? Something happens in the past is called legacy. Royal legacy of Britain, right? The Queen and her legacy. Something happened in the past is called legacy. Now, the legacy, which is the old system, which has happened in the past, they still breathe and live and have all the chunky data. You have to bring the data into SAP. Then what do? Got conversions. That's called conversions. Now, the general ledger account, the chart of account, the number ranges, customer number ranges, cost center data, profit center data, master data, bill of material, recipes, activity type, right? Whatnot. They all have in their different format. but the business process is the same. Everybody manufactures, right? Manufacturing process is the same. It's nothing different. Legal entity, everybody knows legal entity. What is legal entity? It does, regardless of the system. Legal entity is a company code. Everybody knows this, right? Now they have to bring this data into SAP. But in maybe in PeopleSoft, the cost center may be different format. They may not even have a cost center. They call it something else. GL accounts may be in a different format, but they may not have a GL account. They call it something else. Now, when you bring it to SAP, so what do you want to bring? You want to just bring historical data? You wanted to bring just the balances? You wanted to bring nothing, right? Or just want to do a trial balance upload? There are a lot of things you actually do in a actual implementation. That's called conversion. So when you bring the data, okay, you bring it to Excel and upload it to SAP. How do you upload in SAP? Do you use LSMW? Do you do BAPI programming? You create a program, there are a lot of things you can do. Okay, but you have to convert the data. That's called conversion. That's called data conversion. Simple terms, data conversion from one system to another system. Clear? Any questions? Anand, any questions?
No, Jay.
Kamal, you? Bhavna, you?
No.
Kamal, do you hear me? Are you there?
Yes, Vijay, I responded twice.
Oh, but you're on mute, unfortunately.
No, I unmuted it.
Oh, I didn't hear you. Sorry. Okay.
Oh.
Okay, the next one is in the part of RICEFW. So we talked about the reports, interfaces, conversions, then enhancements. What is enhancement? Okay, again, in the large, when you do large implementations, okay, usually you have like a, they call it blueprint or global template. So when you have blueprint, you have global template, which means in some of the requirements they have, do we have a template rollout experience? What is a template rollout experience? Okay, large companies, what they do, they create one template, how the company code should be, okay, how the chart of accounts, how the asset chart of depreciation, how they want to depreciate, how they wanted to create the account groups, field status groups, a lot of things. It is not company specific, right? A lot of them are not company code specific. They create them at the group, the center level, and then they go on implementing different company codes. Let's say China, Greece, Ireland, whatever it is companies, right? When they do it, that's called global rollout template blueprint rollout. So they have a template. They already created this. Okay, now they wanted to implement for other companies. Now, two things will happen. Let's say I created a global template in US. Okay, this is how all the configuration should be, right? You can create, right? Now I'm going to implement this in Mexico. And Mexico, I would say, wait a minute. Okay, we cannot take everything. Okay, we got to change this. It's called localization. Okay, that's called localization, which means I have to change this. That's a tax codes. I cannot use the tax codes. Obviously not, because tax procedures are assigned to the country, right? US has a tax procedure and Mexico has a tax procedure. Maybe something related to tax, they have to localize, they have to customize. Okay, sometimes also called localization. Okay, where you need additional configuration to meet the specific needs of the plant and plant or the company code or the any org structure. so far?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And next one, thank you, sir. Next one is forms. Okay. What is a form? Okay. Forms is basically developing, we talked about reports, right? The first one is reports. Forms is something like, I know you guys worked on Dunning, right? How many people worked on Dunning so far? This call. Who knows Dunning?
Yeah, we did that.
Who worked on Dunning? How many people know Dunning? Dunning forms, Dunning levels, Dunning correspondences, Dunning numbers, Dunning run, Dunning ID.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we
did
had
that.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, we also did.
I don't know, Vijay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. So when you Dunning forms are basically a letter, right? Correspondence that you send to the customer, reminding him that you owe this much money, right? It could be customer aging statement or reminder saying that, hey, you owe us those so and so money and pay us. Okay, that's a call. It's a letter, right? You send a letter. When you buy SAP software, SAP does not give all these letters, right? Because it has to be customized for your own company, correct? The logo has to go there, your address has to go there, depending on your whatever do you need, you have to change it. So when you receive a letter from AT&T, right, that's a form. How SAP, T-Mobile, I don't know about AT&T, maybe AT&T uses SAP as well. Okay, but probably they're not using SAP to generate the Dunning letters, probably not, I don't know. Maybe they do, like utility companies, right? Southern California Edison, they use SAP. How do they generate notices, letters, right? Fancy letter, very nice, right? Color coded, colored, graphical, very, nicely printed. Where they come from? They come from some system. Okay, those are called forms. Okay, the data is in SAP. The customer number, the amount you owe, the aging, terms of payment, all this stuff, it's in some kind of data table, database, right, in SAP. Now somebody has to create this forms to be printed based on that nature of the program. I'm using Dunning program. I'm using automatic payment remittance advices. Another example. When you're sending payment to the customer, SAP prints a remittance advice. Even it prints check, right? You can also print check. Nobody prints checks these days in-house. They all give it to the bank. Those are called forms. Okay. So why it's so important? You will be working on these forms. Okay, so somebody as a functional consultant, you will be working on Dunning configuration. Okay, it's again development. It's not configuration. See, you have to be very careful in choosing the word development or configuration or customization or localization or enhancement. They all have different meanings. Development of layouts for invoices, correspondences. Okay. Okay. Correspondences. Digital or paper notification. It could be an email too, right? SAP sends an email too, right? That is also, it needs to be in a form. Great. The last one is workflow. Last one is called workflow. Okay. Actually, I could have. Ask more people to join this call. So what is a workflow? Okay. What do people know about workflow? Can somebody Google and tell me now? Almost everybody can all of you Google and tell me what is workflow? How does it help?
Business process where tasks and information or documents are passed from one participant to another one.
Okay, who else?
It is the right work brought in the right sequence at the right time to the right people.
Okay, it sounds like a political party motto. Okay, who else?
Approval process.
Great. And who else?
So it's a series of action which shows you all the steps from the starting to the end, from the start to the end.
Okay, great. Who else?
It's the flow of the process from top to bottom.
Great. Who else? All right. Right. So all your answers.
Set of procedural rules, right?
Correct. That's also important. Yeah. Procedural rules. Very important. Yes. So all this guys, all this we said is exactly right. It's a procedural rules, top to bottom, sequential steps for approval or review or those kind of things. Okay. So why do they need it? Can somebody give an example? Why would they need it? Why they need a workflow?
To execute the work systematically and in the correct sequence to derive the desired result.
Correct. Sequence and right. Good. Anybody else?
Certain jobs are predefined rules, which is mandatory to follow to make a product or something.
That's right. And any good examples?
Say for a manufacturing company, for a product, if they're going to follow the same step every day, the job is going to be the same. Right?
Okay. Anyways, that's good. So, in simple terms, right? Let's say in an organization, okay. Let's say I'm in a purchase order. I'm an accounting clerk or a procurement clerk or a procurement analyst. Okay, these are the roles typically a company has. Right? I'm a procurement clerk. So my job is to create purchase order. Okay. So somebody calls me from the factory and said, hey, I need this material, I need this equipment, I need this furniture. So my job, okay, great. Thank you, Steve. Hang up the phone. She knows the vendor who she's going to call and ask for the product because she has a list product catalog. And she's going to dial the number and said, okay, what is the price, this and that. And maybe they have a pre-negotiated price and she creates a purchase order. Great. What does she need next? She creates a purchase order, right? Me, I'm the one. I'm creating a purchase order. Now I have the purchase order number. Can I send the purchase order number to the vendor directly? Can I? So let's say my manager is Hemant. Okay. And Hemant's manager is, for example, Rekha. Okay, so what is the process now? Can I send this to the vendor? So let's say I'm sending this to the vendor. So Hemant is my manager. So what is your reaction?
Need approval,
Review.
review, and approval.
All right. So accounting clerks, I can maybe not. I can send the purchase order to an extent that I am allowed to the extent I'm allowed to, which means I can create a purchase order and send it to the vendor, maybe based on my tolerance. Like that's you can set tolerance $2,000, $10,000, or $40,000, depending on the accounting clerk. The roles, they set this limit. Okay. Now let's say you guys are creating purchase orders, right? You have created several purchase orders. Let's say Yamini has created a purchase order and she cannot release a purchase order. She cannot fax it or send it to the vendor. Okay. Now she wants Rekha to approve the purchase order before she sends it. So what would Rekha do? In the system, okay, what she would do to get the purchase order approved, because it's very urgent material. The factory is waiting. The truck is not moving. The production is stopped. The workers are just sitting there. So what need to be done? How can we do this? Hmm? Hmm? Right. So basically what happens, what is the workflow? You can, let me see.
It's a flow chart.
Correct. So again, you don't do this. I'm not a workflow expert. Don't worry about this. I'm just trying to show you the way how you learn, become familiar in SAP is, whatever you find transaction code, just Google search, anything you find, just go and type this transaction code in SAP and wait for it. What does it do? Okay, just look at it. So there's a rule. Okay, who can approve this? Who can, all this a rule. There's a lot of bunch of it's a different world in the SAP workflow. So before it comes up, anyway, this is ridiculously slow today. Thank you. All right. So asset accountant. So there is a rule for asset accountant. Okay, personal officer. There is a rule. There has to be some for purchase order. Normal clerk. Oh, I've never heard about this. Normal clerk, abnormal clerk. There has to be a purchase. Because most of you guys have worked on purchase order process. I'm just trying to go after it so that it will make a little bit or more sense. Let's see, purchasing group. Maintain role. Buyer approval. Okay, so who's a buyer? Somebody, the organization which is purchasing is a buyer, right? Great. Make repairs in foreign namespaces. You know what they say? Why they call it foreign namespaces? This is what I said. Z reports, right? But in SAP, Z is called foreign. Okay, A, B, C, D, Y is like local. Z is called foreign. Z namespaces, that's called foreign namespaces. Anything that starts with Z is said you cannot change it except it is starts with Z, which is a foreign namespaces. Okay, so this is a rule definition and buyer approval, all this stuff. See, determination of the position of organization unit that is assigned to a purchasing group. The role parameter, you can, for role resolution, you can read all this good stuff here. They're usually boring. So where used list, and you can copy other rules, and you can also simulate the rule resolution. This is just a rule, okay? I just wanted to see the workflow builder, workflow configuration, business. Let's see what this comes up. If you know what it is, most of the problem is solved, right? So that's the whole point of my training here. See, if you know what it is, and if you go back and try to do something on your own, and you already know what it is, right? So you will not be blinking your eye when somebody asks you, do you know workflow now? Do you know how workflow works? Anyways, that's called workflow, right? So purchase order. So I create a purchase order, okay? Now, Hemant is my manager. So what typically happens is, when the purchase order crosses, let's say, $10,000 limit, which I'm not allowed to, it triggers an email or workflow event task to Hemant. It goes to his email. It says that this lady has is trying to create a purchase order, and it needs authorizations because it is actually more than her allowed limit. Then Hemant will say, okay, from here, Hemant will open that link and takes the purchase order and look at the purchase order details. So he's reviewing it. Once you reviewed it, there's an approve button. He just approves it in the workflow. It's all in the email. It comes in the email. Okay. So that's called approval. That's called workflow. Now he doesn't want to approve it. He said, oh, no, we don't have budget. Now I need to talk to the manager first. Who's the requester? I want to talk to him because we have materials. We just ordered yesterday, or we don't have budget. Okay, or that guy is, I don't trust him, whatever it is. Then he will say, reject it. Or he will say, send it back. Let's say he wants to make changes. Maybe I put the wrong vendor. I put the wrong payment terms. Then he said, make corrections. You just send it back to this lady with corrections. These are the corrections you need to do. Then it comes back. Then I'll take a look at it again and correct the terms of payment, the shipping address, whatever it is. Then I send it back to him. The back and forth, all this happens by workflow. The reason is, I think all the guys, everything you said right, but the reason is compliance. It's very important, right? Compliance. What is compliance? You are to comply to the rules and regulations, governance of the company. Who is authorized to do what, right? Not everybody can write a check. The CFO, directors can write a check, but directors can write a check maybe $100,000. Can approve a payment for $100,000. CFOs can approve maybe $500,000. CEO can approve this X amount of dollars, right? Those called, how do you organize them? Not just paper. Everything is in workflow. You create rules, you assign the organization object, you create a plan, you do the configuration, all this stuff. So let's see here. There's lots of here, 2,549 workflow entries. See, approve work document. Let's see here. So for clear on the workflow? Anybody don't understand? Anybody who does not like this topic can keep quiet.
I'm good.
Everybody is trying to unmute and then answer. So take little while to answer. But yeah, it's I think we need to for me at least, I have to again watch this video for a while regarding the workflow, and it may be more clear.
You can do karaoke too.
Yeah.
See, again, make repairs in foreign namespaces only if they're urgent. So make this message tab as a friend, because this you keep seeing it all the time. Okay.
Mhm.
Like this is like a neighbor's dog always come and poop in your lawn. Okay, it's just slow, very slow. Okay, see, workflow started. Okay, approve work document, approval check. Is it approved or rejected? If it's rejected, resubmit collaboration room document. Okay. Now the question is, who creates all this? I don't create, you don't create. It's done by the ABAP, so you are safe. Okay, so at least you should know what does it mean, right? So this is a graphical representation. These are the steps. Okay, approve work document. So where does it go? The first step. So again, this is a I think I use some transaction code. You can do the same thing. Go around and anything that you learn from this screen and take some notes and try to digest and understand and try to keep at least 20-30% of what you studied in your mind. That is great. Okay, this is a task. This task will go to the manager. It says approve this work document. This is the task. Okay, so what does it say? Just click, 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 click. I can tell you, probably this is the first time I'm looking at this, but more than anything else, the process knowledge, that's very important, right? This is approve work document, status is released, it could be description, and see triggering events. See what triggers this? This is important. There's nothing there. What triggers? What is terminating events? What does it start this? If I reject it, it will stop. Okay, I don't know what SAP form. Okay, great. So this is end of this workflow. So we talked about this, all this RICEF again, reports, interfaces, conversions, enhancements, forms, and workflow. So that's end of this RICEF.